Hi, this is Eva for Midnight Mandela. Welcome to Once Upon a Timeline. Yes, my voice is still off. I think it's gotten a little bit better. This has been a very tenacious flu, unfortunately. Not a really bad flu, kind of in the middle, but it just won't go away. It just goes away a little bit. So I'm feeling better, but my ear is totally clogged. I thought I was getting towards the end of the flu. I'm like, yes, I'm getting better. And then I woke up and this ear was completely clogged. So it's better, but it's still clogged. So it's just adding to the weird feeling. It's been 20 years, 15 years since I've had an ear clog. And I don't know, it feels really different now. And I don't know if it's because there's so much more sinus space up in there than I ever remember happening before. Because the last time I had an ear clog, it was a minor annoyance. Once it's not hurting, right? It's just hard to hear. It was just a minor annoyance. Things kind of were a little hard to hear. But now it feels like my whole brain is having, I don't know. It's a weird feeling. It just seems way more disruptive somehow. So now you sound like a 20-year-old. Really? Having a raspy, yucky voice, I sound like a 20-year-old. I'm not even sure how it sounds. I know, first of all, my voice is off. Second of all, my ears are off. So I don't even know how I sound. I might be worse. I might be hopefully a little better than last week. So the other weird thing that happened was I literally did not know today was Wednesday until a couple hours ago. I don't know what happened to Tuesday. Somehow I smeared past Tuesday. I swear yesterday was Monday all day. And then I get up today and it's Tuesday all day. And then I check the weather and I'm like, why does it say it's Wednesday? So it wasn't going to be the most organized of shows today. Luckily I have a month's worth of stuff saved on Reddit of just weird stuff I've seen. So I'm just going to blast through a bunch of that and catch up. Ear candling, it's good. So basically the clog is back behind the ear canal and it's behind the eardrum. So I don't think you can really get anywhere by poking on this side because it's not clogged with wax on this side at all. It's back in the eustachian tube, which is that tube that runs down into the throat. So I actually am able to pop my eustachian tube on command. But, it's going to just have to drain. And the last time I had it, I do recall it kind of takes a while. It does seem like it's going around. I talked to the guy over there. He, over at the gas station next door, he has the same thing, basically, and actually got one ear clogged. And it was real slow to go away, too. So I don't know. So, it's passing. It's just really obnoxiously slow. I actually feel, I want to say I feel pretty good, but I just do feel weird. I just feel spaced out a lot. It kind of goes in and out. I feel totally good and sharp, and then I feel totally spaced out, and then I feel sharp. So I don't know, it's weird because I don't really feel bad. I just feel strange. Sometimes really tired. I did take a bunch of anti-inflammatories and stuff, so that does help. I did take a little bit of antibiotic. I can't tolerate a lot. I took a little bit of azithromycin, just a little bit because I wanted to get this ear thing out. But if I take a normal dose of antibiotics, I will get violently ill. I really literally can only take a tiny bit. But on the plus side, usually a tiny bit will work for me. But did I plug my nose in blood? Well, no, because you can pop out your eardrum if you do that. So I'm not doing that. I mean, up here, there is no clog. My whole nose is clear. There's not even any snot or anything. It's just all in here. And this ear, the eustachian tube. And then I think there's a little bit on the other side. So what happened was, this was a weird one because I think it went in through my eye because I had just a tiny eye, just a little bit of eye inflammation on the lid. I get that once every few years. I just blopped a little bit of antibiotic in there. Went away. And then the next day I started to get the sickness up in here. And then I thought I was getting rid of it. But then it went in here. Well, actually it went in here but it was like so short-lived, and I'm like, kicked it down, that ear's clear, but then it kind of camped out in the right ear. So I don't know. It's like way up in the head, basically. So, antibiotics, I don't know what to say. If like, I don't want my eardrum to pop because then it takes forever to heal, and it worked. Like, my ear was hurting really bad. I'm like, either pop or get better. Took the antibiotics, it worked. But, I mean, I know antibiotics is bad. I don't think there's any, like, simplistic answer to that. I certainly would not be taking antibiotics for any old stupid thing. It's been many, many years since I've taken them. That particular one I've researched extensively. I don't take too much. So it's not like the end of the world, but it's just like adding to the weird. So I feel weird. My hearing is weird. My voice is weird. And Tuesday disappeared. I literally do not know where Tuesday went to. So my mood is weird. So I don't even want to say I have a flu. I don't know what's up. I mean, like, my throat's okay. It doesn't hurt or anything. It just needs to finish healing. My vocal cords are tight, but they're not hurting or anything. Got no sneezing, got no coughing. I just kind of feel weird. And like sometimes I feel really hot, but then I check my temperature. I don't have a fever. So I don't know. This is weird, weird, weird. Yeah, see, I'm not even, like, my nose is not even dripping. Nothing. Literally nothing. I think at this point I just need to wait for the ear to clear. I think it does often take a while when it's in the eustachian clue. I actually was really careful because I, like, make sure that I don't let any inflammation get in my lungs. And I'm like, it's not getting in there. So I wasn't taking too many of the anti-inflams that clear congestion, and I don't know. I don't know if there's anything I could have done to stop it. See, it's not even actually hurting at this point. It was that first day. It's just clogged. There's just like, it's so irritating, but it's not a painful irritating. It's a stuffy feeling. Yeah, the terrain model says I'm healing. I hope so. I almost kind of feel like I just want to pick the storyline that may yield the most benefit for me. So maybe that's the good storyline, right? Do what you can, pick a good storyline. There's something to be said about all that weird feeling, because it kind of like, I don't know, you just look at things differently because your mind's all whacked out. And I saw things about myself that maybe I wouldn't see or notice when I'm in normal. If there's anything such thing as normal anymore, way of thinking. Hopefully I'll remember some of them, knock on wood. Yeah, so that's exactly it, Vivian. It's just weird because I'll be like, feel really weird, I'll be really tired, then a couple of hours I'm totally normal, I feel fine. Bath salts. So bath salts, it's magnesium, Epsom salts. I do that anyways. That's just one of my normal things. So yeah, I haven't been hot and cold at the same time. That's more flu-like. I actually just feel hot. Like I'm warm. I feel like it's kind of tropical. And then I'll feel normal. The week's choices out of all the 7 days. Tuesday is the main day I go through shifts. I don't know. Usually it's more like on the weekend for me, I would say. But again, came out with promethazine. Is that like an antibiotic? I have no idea what promethazine is. So basically I keep a little bit of azithromycin all the time because it's just like such a... I know I could tolerate that one. And it works for a lot of the kind of problems I have. I don't really get like if I get a cut or something, that never really gets infected really. So I don't really carry stuff for that. It's more like just like internal thing in case it's an emergency. I regret smoking weed and trying vapes. I'm healing from that. Yeah, you know, it's weird. I was kind of like looking up, and there's all these weird terpenes and ingredients in cannabis that I was just looking at, that like some of them are anti-inflammatory and how they have all these weird switching mechanisms, and some of them are now being used for healing of nerves. And, you know, like some people have overexcitatory nerve issues, and they found that some of these terpenes really work for them. So I don't know, you know, like, I mean, I do know people that find that cannabis is like medicinal for them. At least it's probably better than what Big Pharma would give you a lot of times. But I wouldn't say, you know, automatically assume. The only thing I would say this is that if you smoke weed all the time and your brain never really learns how to operate normally, that's going to probably alter your development psychologically, and perhaps not always to the best. NASA's Perseverance rover captures drifting clouds just before sunrise on Mars. Yes, of course. I do have somewhere, there are some Mars clips too, because I noticed that the Mars is getting more and more blue sky. We've had that on a couple years ago, but at first they were saying only right at sunrise, sunset, but lately I've just been seeing so many clips of blue sky Mars. See, these people are confused. How are there clouds on Mars? Clouds means water. See, that I've had that on before, that, you know, now for 15 years we've known there's water clouds on Mars. First they just said it as an academic piece of information, but now we're seeing the images of it so that the slow people can catch up. Promethazine cough syrup. Okay, yeah. Yeah, you know, as long as I take my anti-inflams, I usually have the cough under control. But I do like have I just squirt lidocaine on the back of my throat if it's really bugging me. Because one thing I've noticed is like a light cough is good because it helps clear congestion. But if I let it go all raging, it just tears up the throat really bad. And then I'll be coughing for 2 weeks or something. So I just kind of keep it down. So it's a controllable amount. Yeah, see, ascension symptoms, I'm sick, I don't know. I mean, maybe there's like, maybe it's a couple things. I mean, it may be that it is ascension symptoms, but maybe it would help greatly if I was just, you know, more spiritual, less stubborn, let go of things better on my own. Then I wouldn't have to have so many symptoms. It might be that it's harder when you're older because you came from a bajillion timelines ago and had to shift a lot more. You know, that could be it. I don't know. You know, I kind of like in this mood, like, it is what it is. I don't need to label it. I just got to do my best. I'm not going to, I think that's one of the kinds of things I've been just thinking about a lot during this sickness is like, I don't really have to label everything good or bad. You know, if I'm doing bad, that doesn't make me a bad person, doesn't make me a loser. If I'm doing good, it doesn't make me better than everybody else. You know, just accept that I'm a good person, but I'm not perfect. And it's okay not to be perfect. I can still work towards being better, but I don't have to like look down on myself. It's kind of like that balance, right? Turmeric and ginger tea. Yeah, see, you know, it's interesting because ginger, I was totally just researching lately peppermint oil because somebody I know was doing peppermint oil. Their stomach was kind of bothering them, and I looked all into peppermint oil, and it turns out that the menthol has a really similar activity to ginger. I don't think turmeric was on there, but ginger. They have certain weird signaling things that they do in the body that are really interesting. So I've actually been kind of enjoying peppermint oil. You just get like a little water and you just put like 2 drops, swish it around the mouth and swallow it, and then you get that menthol taste. But it also does a lot of really interesting things in the body, and it kind of like kills a lot of germs. It just feels all good. Like you never have something in your body is like, yes, this is the thing we wanted. So I've been doing the Peppermint oil. I gargle with colloidal silver. Yeah, you know, I tried colloidal silver. I did not notice anything. And it may just be, it depends on what you're, see, thyme. Thyme is another one that has that very similar activity to the peppermint. And then I like orange a lot. I'm not a big lemon fan, but orange has a lot of the same terpenes and stuff in it, so I do oranges. So, yeah, I mean, like, there's actually, really, my throat is fine. It's just that it's healing from before. It's not hurting now. I've got, like, kind of delicate vocal cords, so even if I'm totally fine, if I talk a lot, it can kind of trash it. Oh, yeah, looking at that Birth of Venus. Yeah, the paintings, I don't know, like, ugh. I actually feel kind of pretty centered right now, luckily. Because earlier today, I was like, oh, how am I going to get through this thing? Because I can't concentrate. All right, so knock on wood. So basically, you can see I have stuff saved going back about 28 days that I have not, like, I write some stuff on the paper, and anything that I find on Reddit, I just save. And I have just been doing the paper ones and not getting to this. So today is a great day since I lost an entire magical Tuesday went away. So about a month ago, I was sitting here going, micro moon. What the heck's a micro moon? Snow moon, micro moon. Okay, it makes sense if we had a super moon that we have a micro moon. But I had not heard of the word micro moon until last month. After 50-something years of life, now we have a micro moon. February's full moon goes by several nicknames, many of which relate to the month's typical weather in North America. Snow moon is the most common, or micro moon. So yeah, we have micro moons. So a lot of these are just little things, like it's not a whole big story, but it's like, it just seems kind of indicative of the times. So I'm just gonna... Okay, another one I saw a whole bunch of, like, it's weird because I'll be on Reddit and I'll just see, like, 5 different videos from all over Reddit of, like, kind of a similar motif. And, like, a month ago also was animal attacks. Animal attacks were, like, everywhere. So here's one. So for some reason, this horse decided he hated this window. I don't know, but it was just weird. So he just starts kicking the crap out of this glass. I can only guess that he saw his, like, it's a male and he saw his image in the glass. But usually horses aren't that stupid. So it's kind of weird that this horse just, like, attacked this glass. And I think, he looks, I mean, usually they kind of know. I mean, they're not stupid. They're like a dog, right? So, I mean, they're at least as smart as, like, a smart dog, generally speaking. So, I don't know. It's just kind of weird. So, there's been all these, like, weird attack videos a month ago. I think I have a couple more coming up. Okay, yeah, this one, which I skipped over, but... So I guess this walrus, or whatever, he decides he's going to attack this boat by stabbing it with his, whatever, those tusks. Again, it just, yeah, I don't, usually you just don't see stuff like that until lately. I didn't. I mean, it used to be like, okay, don't bother these animals, but they didn't used to come and, like, just start wailing on people. Okay, let's see. Some of these I don't even remember why I saved them until I clicked on them. I kind of went through a few of them earlier, but... What was it about this one? Oh, yeah. Okay, here we go. I think this was the shark attack one. Yep, shark attacks boat. Out of the blue. So, you know, I mean, it used to be, okay, just don't get in the water. The shark minds its own business. But I guess now they just attack your boat. I've seen several of these around the same time. This is just one of them. You can see these are all next to each other because I saved them at the same time because they were all happening around the same time. Now, this one we've had on many times. Blood Falls, Antarctica. But you can see it's more now. It's bloodier, it's more, it's grosser. So it used to just be like kind of just this part right here. It looks like it's just, and it was kind of stained. It wasn't actually, I don't know. It just seems like it's grown a lot since last time. So Blood Falls supposedly is from, what does they say? Red oxide in the dirt. But this seems like kind of extreme. When did that show up? It was quite some time ago, 5-6 years ago, but it just wasn't that much at the time. Look, see, 24 minutes has already passed. How did I talk for 24 minutes? I think I've only been talking for 5 minutes. According to NASA, the moon is rusting. All right, let's click on that. They scraped up one of those yucky, ugly, yellow-colored moons that we did not used to have. Now you see it all the time around sunrise, around moonrise. The moon is rusting. Scientists are baffled. They have found hematite on the moon, a form of rust that usually requires oxygen and water. But we know now, and have long known, that there is water on the moon, although there wasn't 10 years ago, but now there was like decades ago, because they've now claimed there's always been ice at the bottom of the deep, I can't speak English, not canyons, the big holes. So now it's not weird. All right, now water was discovered on the moon in 2008 or 9. I love the way he writes that. It almost sounds like I wrote it. Now we've known since 2008. Like, why not write, we've known since 2008. Water ice. No oxygen, though. So we're going to get oxygen then, because we have rust, so we must get oxygen. All right, we got the water. Now we need the oxygen. Pretty soon it's going to be like the jungle. How is the moon corroding? Why is the moon rusting? There are trace amounts of oxygen on the moon. In 2007, the orbiter blah, blah, blah found upper atmosphere could hitch a ride on the magnetic fields. Oh, and so they're stealing atmosphere from Earth now. Is that the story? The Earth has infected the moon with its stinky oxygen. This still leaves the problem of no liquid water, but wait. Dust particles that bombard the moon could release surface-borne water molecules. These blah, blah, blah. All right, you know what? So let's just cut to the chase. They're going to say there's oxygen and liquid water on the moon. It's coming. They're just working up to it. I think he saw his reflection, thought it was another horse. Yeah, but you know, I mean, like, they're usually just not that effing stupid, those horses. They're just, I mean, they're usually, and then, you know, I mean, usually they're like, oh, okay, got it. I mean, I do work with them. They're not like dingbat bird head, you know, like those birds in the spring, the male birds. I mean, if it was just that horse, I'd go with it, but then there was so many videos of other things attacking stuff. Angels don't fall. I want to get another sluice box. Focus on my diamond mining. That sounds like fun, and I wish I had more life force in me to do that kind of stuff. I'm going to work on it, though. I am getting better, but... So, you know, I mean, like, what works for me to get better is to just, like, think a lot about how it would feel to be better. and not spend much time concentrating on how it feels to be worse or thinking about being worse, but just like, I could do better. This is how it'll feel to be better. It'll be fun, blah, blah. Any idea that I might have that is contrary to the idea of getting better, I try to dismantle it in my head. So, you know, like, oh, what if I never get better? What if I got a genetic problem? What if radiation from the earth is killing my brain? What if it's not that? What if I will get better? What if, good things. It does seem to help. I mean, like, I'm not a whole way there, but I have gotten a lot better. So, I mean, maybe we really do make our own reality. And if we make our own reality, then everything we put attention on is the reality we make. So if I put my attention on that guy's an idiot, then I'm putting my attention on creating more idiotness, right? If I put my attention on I feel superior, inferior, blah, blah, then that's not what I want more of. I don't want to feel superior or inferior or anything. I just want to be happy, have fun, you know, easy life. So I think of life as hard all day. Well, maybe that makes life hard all day because I'm thinking of life as hard all day. Maybe if I think of life, what's easy about life, what's good about life, blah, 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 blah. So maybe that's what all these synchronicities are. They're trying to show us something about how life operates. Anyway, that's hilarious. Moon is rusting. Skunks look hilarious. Are you talking about those ones that do handstands, have colors all over and all this crazy whack stuff? Or is there more beyond that one? Because red pandas have black. Those red pandas are always changing. Red pandas. I must have had those on so many times. So they're a manned animal for me. They didn't used to exist. I'm pretty sure they're still a marsupial, right? Weren't they a marsupial when they showed up? No, now I'm not even sure, actually. And that was those. Oh, you know what? Those are those weird kangaroos with the long tails. Those were the marsupials. Bear-like body and thick russet fur. So those kangaroos. So it used to be only Australia had kangaroos, but now like Papua New Guinea and all these have these tree kangaroos in there. Some of them are real red. The lesser panda. So I was getting them confused. So the last time I checked, I was saying that they got a lot of white on their face. And only some of them had white on their face when I checked, but you can see they all do now. So that's the first thing I notice. Like all this white that wasn't really there when they first showed. Oh, look at all of them have it now. So there was quite a bit of variation last time I looked, but not now. They're so cute. This one got really white. All right, so that tail doesn't have it. Let's see what's over here. The front has gotten really dark. They're so cute. All right, let me look at those tree kangaroos. And the other one that changes a lot is that giant, weird, whoa, those have changed a lot. It's been a while since I looked at those. Dang. So this guy is the one I remember, but man, they look like rats now. They got a big old white snout. They didn't used to have that. They have this dorky squirrel face. The tail has gotten really long. I think I did have that really long tail on last time. But, I mean, look at how long it is now. Crazy. So I thought they were more red. It looks like they're getting more, like, a little less red, but, like, more yellow on the body. They actually look really different than last time I looked. Them tree kangas. I wonder how many species there are now. Tree kangaroo. Species. Grizzled. Lumholtz. Yeah, there's a bunch. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that might be why they look so different. There's so many now. Looks like all around that Papua New Guinea and Australia area, though. Stars. Oh, yeah, you're right. Stars are kind of the shape of stars now. Colugo. I have had Colugo on here a number of times. I think I had one on. So, I've had him on, but I see the motion. I had it on like a week or two ago. It was climbing on someone's back, I think. But lately, there's been a lot of videos coming out showing them with weird, not just flying and landing, but like doing like this weird bunny hop business and stuff. Wait, we don't need to hear all the yapping. Yeah. So now they're like half mammal, half frog, apparently. Psst. All right. Good old Twitter. Suck you in. All right, here we go. You know, lately I can't do Twitter that much because it's just like there'll be a post and then every post under it is nothing to do with the post hardly. It's like, this is not a conversation. It's just like, might as well just random scroll because you can't have a conversation. That's one thing I've really noticed about Twitter lately. Like if I go on Reddit, I click on something, then most of the comments under there are going to have something to do with the main post. But that doesn't happen on Twitter anymore. I'm not really sure what is going up with that, but I don't know about you guys, but geckos don't need males to reproduce is news to me. So I had that on maybe a year ago. I've had it on a couple times since then. Species that no longer require males. And yes, it is new, not brand new. I don't think it's all geckos though. Last I checked, there was just like one or two kinds. I won't be surprised at all if there's more because that's definitely on the uptake on that weird stuff with the gender bending in nature. These Orion Earths are teeming with life. Yes, they very much are. And it's just so weird because the narrative is that everything's going extinct. But there's just stuff, weird stuff, all kinds of stuff, wild. It's absolutely insane, all the creatures that are showing up. Oh, these are almost extinct. Nope, they just showed up, guys. They just showed up. Do you guys remember the movie Suddenly 30? Being suddenly 30 in your... I don't remember a movie called Suddenly 30, so I'm not sure. No, I don't even know how loud I'm talking, so hopefully y'all can hear me. Because I can't hear myself. I might be talking really loud. I've definitely been cranking all the videos. It's probably they can hear my videos 50 blocks away. Just because of the ear thing. Honestly, the movie being called 13 going on 30. I don't know if I know either one. I just really have not paid attention to a lot of movies, you know, in recent years. Queen of the Night Plant. All right, now I'm assuming that is... It's got to be some kind of fast forward time lapse. Oh, pretty. So I'm assuming that happens at night. Styling. Yeah, I don't know that one. I mean, I couldn't say that for sure it wasn't there, though, because it's big, it's nice, but it's not so weird that I couldn't have missed it. Crimes as a space alien Elon imported. I don't know if we'll get to it, but one of the things that I kind of randomly ran into on the internet lately was they were talking about Gen Alpha and like the tail end of Gen Z, like the famous people or like whoever's becoming influencers or whatever. And it was actually, I think, a Gen Z person who was saying this, was that there were comments on the Gen Z that a lot of the kind of better known influencers, their eyes are very far apart. Like, and I was trying to kind of, there was a word for that. Like, let's see. Let me see if I can find one. Now I'm like, it's a little risky because, but they just have more space here. Now, not all of them, obviously. Let me just try Gen Z. Well, Gen Alpha. Gen Alpha. Let's try Gen Alpha. Now I'm not finding it, of course. So anyway, just kind of look and see what you think, because there was, it was actually a Gen Alpha whose eyes were kind of unusually far apart. And it's just kind of a weird look. And I don't think it was all due to, shall we say, filters. So is that kind of, so this girl here kind of is kind of the look. I don't know. It just seems like the eye, there's a lot of space between the eyes. So, I mean, is this just kind of the new species that we're developing into? Is it hormones and the food? Is it just the way we're shifting? Will it go backwards in time? Probably. But I have noticed kind of now, I mean, an argument certainly could be made that maybe that's just an interesting looking face. So they get more attention because they're just kind of interesting looking. But it does just seem like, I don't know, the faces just look different than I remember when I was growing up. And I've kind of noticed this for the last 10 years. I'll be meeting people and I'm like, that face just looks kind of strange, you know? Like, I just don't remember seeing a face that looks like that before. And like these ethnic faces, I mean, it's not like we didn't have ethnic faces. They just didn't have the eyes so far out before. It was like the same face, but with the eyes closer in, you know? So, see, a lot of the ethnic faces are having that, but I don't remember the ethnic faces all having, like, not all, but having that wider space in between. That wasn't one of the features. They'd have like maybe a wider face, but the eyes weren't out there on the edges. They were still in the normal spot. So it's kind of like, oh, I don't know. Is that the direction we're heading in? I mean, okay, sure. Sure, maybe some of it's just the way the camera and stuff works now, but, you know, that hasn't changed in just 2-3 years either, how I don't think that we've had enough changes in the way cameras operate to account for all this. So even her, it just seems like eyes are getting further apart. So I don't know. It kind of adds to the surreal look. The kids, most of them don't eat sugar. I don't know, man. I don't know. I see them eating sugar. Wider spaced eyes than her nose. Yeah. The nose is... Well, we've seen changes with the cheekbones coming up and stuff, so... So, I mean, you know, we got to remember that kids are kids. And we were stupid when we were kids, too. So, I think it's kind of easy to, like rag on kids because we forgot that, you know, they have a lot of learning to do like we did. And they're going to be different. And they're going to make more mistakes. Because I think I'm like, oh, that's stupid, that kid. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, I did stupid stuff like that, too, because I was just a kid. So one of the things I'm hearing a lot about alpha is they just don't listen to the teachers and stuff. And I'm like, huh. You know, I could see good stuff and bad stuff with that because I do think that a lot of what they're being taught now is kind of like gaslighting and unfair, and they're like in the schools and stuff. It's just really hard to like operate like that. So maybe that's contributing to like the just like F it, you know, I'm not listening to you people anymore. Total libertarian attitude. So there could be good parts and bad parts of that because when you're a contrarian, you know, you don't fall for the baloney, but then it is harder to get along with your fellow man, you know, so. And I'm like, well, they're not learning. Reading, writing, I guess, is really dropped. Then I'm like, well, do we really got to have that with AI and all that doing most of it? Does it really matter if you can spell or not? I don't know. I mean, there's going to be advantages and disadvantages to all of that stuff. Today was my birthday. Oh, wait, that was yesterday. Well, yeah, today is Tuesday. Oh, yeah, that was yesterday. Now you're on my boat here. Yeah. So, yeah, that's just the one thing. We talked about the cheekbones and stuff, but then, like, last week, I'm like, the eyes. You're right, the eyes. Halle Berry's eyes. A lot of the famous people even, I feel like they're subtly changing and sometimes not so subtly changing. And then rumor mill that they've been secretly replaced by someone else. And maybe that's just because people are noticing that they look different. But then if you go back and look at their old images, they always looked different. But it's just like... I think it's easier for the average person to say that this person was replaced by a copy, you know, like a surgically altered human, than to think reality is magically shifting and changing, because that's even weirder. So you know something's off, but which narrative scares you less? Which narrative is a little easier to like wrap your brain around? So my favorite generation is Gen X because they were in all the old horror movies I watched as a teenager. Well, that's my gen, so I can't complain. But, you know, I think, you know, it's easy for me to like my generation because I'm used to my generation and it's normal for me. And then when somebody else comes and they've got, you know, the later generations, they have some advantages and some disadvantages over Gen X. And so I kind of have to try to have an open mind because also, you know, the pendulum swings back and forth on this stuff. And sometimes I think it just has to swing really far in order to get traction, and often too far. And then it swings back. And you know, lately I'm just like, let's have some faith in the universe that it's getting us there by hook or by crook. So one of the things when this pendulum swings too far, then it kind of makes you see the, you know, the limits and the mistakes. Sometimes it has to be exaggerated enough where you can go, wait, you know, at least get a chance to really see that, you know, okay, maybe that's not a perfect idea there, you know, because taken to the extreme, this is what you get. I saw a Reddit post not too long ago about people noticing their eyes seemed wider apart along with various other features. That's interesting because I had noticed that faces look weird, and I was kind of focusing more on the pushed in nose and the higher cheekbones, and I hadn't quite got it to the eyes until that Jen, I think it was an alpha. She was pretty young. She might have been a younger Z. Actually said it. She's like, a lot of people have asked why Gen Alpha's influencers look different. And then she said this word, and I forget the word now, but I clicked in the word in the wiki, and it was wide apart eyes. And I'm like, you're right. Has anybody heard of the Holodomor famine? So yeah, I did hear of that because Russian history, right? Or Ukrainian history. I had not heard about it before, but then I wasn't an expert on Ukrainian history. But then I think all of Russia's shape and everything's different. So would I have heard of it? Quite possibly not. Am I suspicious of it? Yes, I still am. So it's basically, if I remember correctly, there was a time in Soviet Union history where there was a great food shortage, and what the leaders of the Soviet Union at the time did was decide to just not provide food to certain regions, and then provide food to other regions. I mean, that same thing happened in China in current history too. It's basically like, which ones are we going to sacrifice, basically? And the Holodomor was when a lot of people in Ukraine died because of food shortage, because of mismanagement of the food supply by the leaders of the Soviet Union. That was way back when it was Soviet socialist, blah, 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 not under the current rule, which is Russia. And Russia, my understanding is it's basically a capitalist system right now. It does seem to be more effective that way. There are many old new history that were pushed out of our history books. Yeah, I'm just really suspicious with the old, it was always there but hidden. I don't think it was. I think there's just new reality stuff, and it's just another excuse for this to show up. Because, if you look at old history books, it's right there, so it really wasn't hidden. But it's easier for people to accept, I think, Mandela's that way by just thinking of it that way. I've heard that adolescents these days are really into skincare regimens. It's a thing. It's called Sephora Kids. Well, kids are really into looks now, social media. Also, I just think it does seem like health is really kind of crappy now. So that might be a lot more of why they're trying to sort out health issues, psychology issues. I would blame it all on food, but I don't know. Maybe that's just, maybe it's really more just the shifts and the energies and everything is just hard, and we're evolving and it's hard and we need to blame it on something. So that's what it's going to be. Food and stuff. Attack of the Clones, or is it Mandela? Yeah. They have been giving us story instead of history. Yeah, I don't know though, because it's like we have this story and then 10 years later go, no, it's actually this story. That was a fake story. And then 10 years later, no, it's actually this story. That was a fake story. No, that's been going on every 10 years for how long? It's an old wives' tale. Oh, no, wait, it's real. No, it's an old time. So yeah, I'm not buying that it was just, yes, it is a story, but I don't think it's conventionally hidden and then come to light the way that a lot of people that don't know of the Mandela are assuming. The archaeologist civilizations of the world. See, I follow these, and even these change. What was it? Okay, just this week, for instance, I don't even think I was going to save this because it's always changing, but here's an example. I have had on here many times this old legend that I don't even remember hearing until a couple years ago, that the Jewish church, the Jewish religion believes that, and last time I looked, like a bunch of times ago, it was that you need like the end times will be ushered in by a sacrifice of a red heifer, which is a cow that never gave birth, and then the ashes, and they had some ceremony, and then they had to build the second church at a certain spot in Jerusalem, and then that would usher in like the new era, right? And then like I was kind of following that, and they didn't, when I first heard of it, there were no red heifers, so they're like, well, it's impossible because they need a red heifer, but we don't have red heifers in the world, so where's this red heifer going to come from? And I was thinking, you never know, Mandela could cough up a red heifer, right? Well, sure enough, a little bit later, there were red heifers. Oh, there's red heifers, but they just had a couple of hairs that weren't the right color. And if you have more than 3 hairs that aren't the right color, it doesn't count. So now we have red heifers, but they're 3 hairs away from being good. And then the next time I look, it's like, it wasn't the second church. It was the third church now. We're on the third church and we need red heifers. And then, like this week, I looked and they had 5 red heifers that they found that were perfect. And they shipped them to Israel already, like 2 years ago. And they're all considered good. And they all don't have any. I didn't even see anything about the 3 hairs. Last time it was 3 hairs or less. I didn't even find anything about 3 hairs. They all were perfect. Not a single hair that wasn't red now. So theoretically, and then they purchased land, apparently, before it's the third temple now. I had to be in a certain spot, but now it's just got these rules. So I guess there could be a variety of spots that it could be put on as long as it fit all these rules. And they had purchased some land. And now the story, though, is although they have the heifers, they have to mix the ashes of the new heifer with ashes of the old heifers from 2,000 years ago, and that wasn't part of the story before, but now it is apparently. But then rumor has it that they found ashes of red heifers like in a Qumran temple. I couldn't verify that at all, though, so I don't know. But that, you see how that story just keeps switching and switching and switching. We're almost there. No, we're not. We're here. So that's why when I follow these things, it's like, oh, well, it turns out really this was hidden, but that even those stories won't hold still. They're shifting all over the place, which is another reason why I don't just think it came out like it was always that way and it came out. It's like super, super, super shifty. When I was at the doctor's for my ear, he brought up and mentioned odd that he thought it was odd that 85% of kids all have tubes in their ears. I don't know what you mean by tubes. What tubes are we talking about here? I might have missed it. Tubes. Is it this? No, that's where we just were. Okay, are we talking about that little tiny thing that was supposed to be left over from back when we had gills or something that showed up and was supposed to be in only 2% of the population? All right. Oh, is that what you mean by tubes? American woodcock. Let's look up American woodcock. There's so many animals that have been showing up. Oh yeah, I've noticed a lot of animals just kind of losing their necks these days. Makes for a weird look. Yeah, I don't know if I know about that one, but it is a weird looking thing. Here is the link to the 4th dimension. Okay, well, can't play someone else's video on here. Gamer head dent. Gamer head dent. I bet you it's a Mandela, and I'll just blame it on gaming. Gamer dent is a dent refers to a phenomenon where a head site leaves a temporary impression on a person's hair and skin after being worn for a long time. Let's see. Is this a place where dents are showing up anyway? Gamer head dent. Because we have seen a lot of changes here in the temples. Gamers are discovering dents in their head. So, I don't know if you remember back, but they were showing like these bumps at the back of the head over here in the skull. And they were saying something about because you look down more or something. And how come I can't click on this? Oh, maybe here. It seemed a little much for me that just putting your head down is going to make a dent back here. I could kind of see maybe, I don't know. So in the old days, it wasn't that easy to just grow bone anyway, but now it is. All right, where is the dent? This guy cried. So I'm assuming it's here because this is where you have the game. So they're saying it's pushed in here. So we have seen, though, that the cranium does seem to have a push thing in here. We were looking at that years ago. So I have a feeling that they're basically just noticing a Mandela and assuming it's this. I mean, unless it's somewhere other than where I'm thinking. Not permanent, but yet we do see that, well, we have been tracking that it does seem like the head is kind of going back that way. Let's look at the skull here. So they just may be noticing that which we have already noticed and blaming it on something else. So for instance, if you go way back, many of us do not remember this giant dent right behind the eye and having this separate orbital. That has been a while that we've been talking about that. So right in here, with this area coming out more, like right here, there, I think, is more of a dent in there. The jaw bigger. So again, interesting here. I don't really remember these dents either. This little ridge here does seem kind of newish since last time I looked. Right in here. Yeah, I have a feeling that this is basically more of the skull changes. I had mentioned before this one, when this thing first showed up, people are like, oh, that guy's just got an abnormal head, blah, blah, but you're just seeing it all kinds of times. All kinds of skulls now. So basically, this is where the jaw muscle attaches on here, and now it attaches over such a wide area, so a lot of chewing would cause, theoretically, this buildup in the bone. In the old days, you would not get, such change in actual bone morphology just from that, but now you will. So I don't think it's just gamers. I think it's everybody, but gamers are just noticing it and thinking it's gaming. I don't think you're gonna like look at the morphology of a gamer and a regular person and actually see a difference. It's just you see something weird on you, right? And so either if you don't know about the Mandela, and you're probably not going to think, ooh, there's a magical, mystical change in reality. So you're going to be looking for a rationale. Why? I don't remember my head denting in. Maybe these headphones did it, and that sounds good on paper, right? It's got to be the headphones because it's not magic. What if it is magic? They're not going to jump to it. Giant banana with an appropriate nickname. Let's see. Stop it. I know we've had a lot of bananas on before. Oh, is it like a fat banana? I don't know. We got so many bananas now. With an inappropriate nickname, huh? I don't know, because, you know, after the blue bananas and the ice cream bananas and all that. The dent is the soft tissue. Well, they assume so, right? But, I mean, we've been tracking this for a couple years, that it looks like the bone is changing, cheekbones coming up, nose pushed in more. There's a weird bone piece on the top of the nose that didn't used to be there. So I actually, you know, if you logically going by conventional wisdom, it would be just the soft tissue. But seriously, there's only like this much tissue right here. Or how are you gonna like really squish that without having a massive bruise? I mean, even that's not logical. So I really just think it's that the skull is changing, and they just see it, and they can't say it's magic, so they say, oh, it must be these headphones. But that doesn't make sense either. I mean, like, if I wear, like, I had my kind of a tennis elbow thing, and I wore the super tight compression band, and I wore it for like 3 days in a row, and I take it off, and for a little tiny bit of time, this area looks a little pushed in. But even the squishing the crap out of it is just a tiny little temporary time. It's not something you're going to notice a half hour later. And this is a big flabby fat area, right? It's not this much skin. So you know, that's another thing, Renee. I was just like, every time I look at those elongated skulls, I swear, it's like, come on, they're getting longer and longer. So now they're saying that there's elongated skulls in a part of Japan, and that they did skull deformation in Japan. In fact, this one, I think this is China here, but no good images of it. But it was just which one did I see if I can find it? So they showed like an actual regular, like this, like women like this, right? And that would be the extent of it. But then when you look at some of these old skulls, they're like 3 times longer than this girl's head. Like how are you going to get that? I don't know. Like this, how are you going to, like, there's no living people that got this head. See, like her, she doesn't have this head. And some of them are way more than that, like way more. So I don't see one of the extreme ones, but I did see one of them earlier today. It's like, something's off. All right, see what Shari's got. Yeah, I can't play this because, oh man, copyright. Absolutely cannot play pop music on here. Was he talking about seeing the gestures people see when they smoke DMT? So when you like smoke DMT, you see like sometimes they call them the jesters or the clowns, but they show up different for everybody. It's like a concept of like a goofy little elf clown jokey thing that goes ha ha ha, wee wee wee. You know, it's just like that. It's a concept, so they don't look the same. I think it's how your mind portrays a concept to you, and each person ends up with a slightly different or sometimes greatly different portrayal. But the overall sense of what is behind it is often similar. So sometimes they're called the machine elves or the jesters, some kind of low-level clown-like, fun-loving, but very teasing and sometimes obnoxious creature things. Yeah, see, if skulls are real, they're different species. Head binding cannot add volume. Unless the Mandela adds the volume, you know? Because I do feel like the heads are getting longer. Actually, kind of looking at my head, now my head actually kind of seems small compared to a lot of people I see online. And I used to kind of think I had a big head, but not anymore. Yuck, DMT. DMT is, I don't know what to say. It's, DMT is crazy town. I don't know if to say yuck DMT, but it is crazy town. So, like, when I was really sick, I don't know if I was really, really sick. I didn't think I was really sick, but I did notice for a couple days I closed my eyes. It's like I could see the DMT realm, like, not quite as sharp, but, like, fairly easily behind my eyes. Like, I just shut it and I'd start to see, like, the swirly colors. And then if I looked at the swirly colors, it was like I was looking with my third eye. It's kind of a weird feeling. Like, it's not, like, it feels like you're really seeing it versus just imagining it. And then, like, I could see stuff in there, and it was kind of DMT stuff. Like, I don't, just images of this and that, people, whatever. But it was like, for a couple nights, it was like kind of a, literally like a trip. I had not taken any psychedelics or anything, but yet I could see in there. So I do think the veil is getting thinner. You do have a smaller head, but now, see, it didn't used to be that small. It's like everybody else's head got fat, and mine didn't. I have the old reality head. Oh yeah, I saw this recently. I would go up there because I trust myself not to fall down, but Buddha's hand. Yeah, that's been making the rounds lately. I don't think it's real old or anything, but I'm not super scared of heights. I mean, I have a respectful caution around heights. And if I was ever feeling dizzy or something, I'd probably change my attitude, but remember a few years ago when people dressed up as clowns in America and were walking around at night creeping people out? Yeah, that was like right in the beginning when a lot of, like, around 2016, I think it was. We were all talking about it on the Mandela subreddit, like, this is weird. I actually kind of was just talking the other day that I feel like it was the beginning of clown world. It was like symbolic of clown world, or we've entered clown world. Looking back on it, I wasn't sure what it meant then, but looking back on it, I maybe it's like the incredible shrinking one. No, I think my head's the same. I just think everybody else got weirder. I've got the old head. Not that it's totally the same. I do notice some changes, but yeah, all of a sudden, gigantic statues, never even heard about them being built, and boom, there they are. I don't know what to say. Never done DMT, but I did take a handful of Benadryl and got stung by a wasp. Yeah, it's, I don't know. DMT can't really be described. It's a lot more than feeling weird, that's for sure. That's like the fast ticket to crazy town. You gotta really be up for adventure if you want to go that route. Definitely not for everybody. "2016 felt so memorable to me, but I thought it was just me." No, a lot of people in the, like, if you go onto the subreddit called Retconned, which is a little bit more friendly towards Mandela than the main sub, a lot of people talk about, like, just, it seems like certain times stuff got real shifty, in, like, kind of like certain pivot points, and it's pretty common for people around there to go, that's when it started to get weird, and then you kind of get used to it, and then there's another pivot point and it gets more weird. And I feel like lately we've hit another one of those. I didn't know there are ancient buildings that are still in use. Let's see what we got here. The oldest building still in use. Tower of Hercules. Yeah, you know, a lot of these I'm like, what? Como Pueblo has housed Native Americans for centuries. Founded as early as 1100 AD. So, you know, for me, way back, the Native Americans just did not have normal structures like square buildings and stuff. They didn't have that stuff. It just wasn't there. There was no old, you'd find like flint knappings and stuff, but that's it. I don't recognize any of these things. Hagia Sophia. The Pantheon managed. That one I've had on before. This giant toilet bowl shaping behind. And I'm like, no, that's new to me. Castel Sant'Angelo. Never seen that before. Don't know what that is. I kind of maybe heard of this, but I don't recognize it. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of gave up. I kind of feel like, I give up. Everything is weird. Try to pick out the more strange ones and point them out, but I'm touching salvia. Salvia is one I'm not touching. I'm not that crazy. Yeah, I don't know very many people. I don't know many people who took salvia and want to do it again. Let's just put it that way. It's just the ratings, the favorability ratings on salvia are not high, and there's been a lot of people that found it to be just absolutely terrifying nightmare. So keep that in mind. All right, let's see. What do we got here? This one was weird. Physics. Okay, I have had these weird spinny things on before, but I just somehow don't get tired of them. Physics now. So this guy's shooting a bullet at the ground. Then he's going to chase it down and watch it do weird things. All right, so there's a bullet doing strange things. I'm sorry, I don't know. It's just... So that one, okay, maybe that's not as weird as it could be, but then there's like the next one, which is more weird. So now let's do it with, let's do it with cans instead of bullets, because it wasn't weird enough already. It just holds itself up. Yep. Things don't like to fall down in the current reality, it seems. All right, this one, the iconic view of the Empire State Building from Madison Square Park has been blocked. Did it always look like that? Empire State Building. I just don't remember like this big dent in the middle. I don't know if it's me, but I just kind of noticed. I'm like, well, is that how the Empire State Building always looked like? I'm not sure on that one, but I just, when these things go viral and I'm like, yeah, something seems wrong. All right, now this one was really weird. You probably heard of the canals on Mars. Like there was this weird swirly thingies, and they're like, oh, it's... So when did it show up? Like 15 years ago? Well, apparently this is a map of them. So you used to say, oh, it's just like, you know, swirls due to weather or something was what they used to say. But does this look like swirls due to weather? It doesn't really look natural at all to me whatsoever. So that's, I guess, the current, best I can tell, that is legit. They basically took, you know, the images, the satellite images, and then they drew them out. So are we going to get like aliens now or what? Because it sure looks like it. I don't know. Does not look natural. So, speaking of Mars, I was saying earlier, you see, this really doesn't look like it's just sunrise, sunset now. It just looks like it has a blue sky. And it didn't used to. And the official color of Mars now is butterscotch. Used to be red, you know, like it had a red look, but now it's butterscotch, so it's kind of yellow. And then now they're saying that it's only like butterscotch when there's a bunch of dust in the air, but when the dust settles down, it's like blue. So, okay. That's what I was looking at not too long ago. Oh, you know what? It actually moves. Hold on. It moves, it moves. So this is a panorama. I'm just going to jump ahead so you can kind of see. Let's get the good view here. So, you know, you can see it's not just blue right where it's sunrise, sunset. It's blue now. This is blue. This is supposed to be Mars. This is supposed to be actually from like the rover and stuff. I don't see no sunrise, no sunset here. So the sun has to be pretty high. It's just blue. And the dirt isn't even all that red. It just looks like kind of normal dirt. It's weird when you look this stuff up because then they're like, well, you know, your eyes would see a different color than was really there. I'm like, what? You know, I mean, like, all right, let's see where you guys are at now. Yeah, I'm sure we will because they're already saying that there's like rain kind of drops, but maybe it doesn't make it to the ground. But we've got polar ice caps with ice all over. And there's, you know, we're right around the corner from water. This building was from 17th century. No nails used on building it. Never heard of it. Let's see what we got here. Oh, really? That doesn't even look real. Wooden marvel on Russia's Lake Onega. 22 domes shine like in a... The hell? That does not even look real. Keezy Pogost. And it looks like an AI. Let me just check this out here. Reality is becoming like an AI. All right, well, it's there. That survive. That's bizarre. I've never seen that thing. The heck, man. I mean, you can do tongue and groove, and so there's no nails, but still, that's crazy town. It looks like some kind of dream. Kizzy Pogost. UNESCO World Heritage Site, located on one of the many islands in Lake Onega in Karelia. 18th century wooden churches, an octagonal clock tower, also in wood. Perpetuating the ancient model of parish space and in harmony with the surrounding landscape. Is that harmony with the surrounding landscape? I don't think so. That's not in harmony unless you're in like crazy town. I mean, I'm not knocking it, but I don't know if I'd say it's in harmony with the surrounding landscape. That looks like an alien invasion of the surrounding landscape. We will have yes, I do think we will have rivers on Mars. It's coming. They sneak it in, you know. Oh, there's some ice at the bottom of a deep ravine. Oh, there's a little frost on the ground. Oh, there's some ice at the poles. Oh, maybe some of the ice underneath melts a little bit. You know, more. Mortise and tenon, yeah. I mean, the old tech is there. It's just, yeah, it looks fake. I just, all this stuff showing up, you know. King Kong left a dent in the Empire State Building. Yeah, you know, I don't remember that being there. Not a deep dent like that in that show either. I mean, see, I know that there's rifling inside the barrel of a gun. It's basically meant to spin. The story is to keep the bullet going straight as it flies. But, like, what I remember is that it would hit something, like, say it hit ice, okay? Boom. It's going to sproink off, or it's going to go in, okay? It's either going to poke in there and stop, or it's going to bounce off. It doesn't sit there and go for an hour. That's what it did not used to do. So, yes, it spun, but it would just bounce. Just sit there and flail around. Eva sounds like that woman in Mystery Science Theater 3000. You mean the one that used to be Mystery Science Theater 2000 for some of us, many of us, and then magically was 3000, and then we all thought they changed the name of the show, and then it turned out it was always 3000. Yep, that show. Have you seen the inside of a penguin's mouth? Yes, that has been on. Penguin's mouth, turtle mouths are no better. So, like, who invented all the extra teeth and creepy stuff in there? I don't know. It might be partially, like, me, because I think that's really cool. But if we're making our own reality, who voted for that? I could have voted for that. I could have voted for this. But some of this stuff, I feel like I definitely didn't vote for the giant murder hornets. Unless your fears come to life too, because I do have a bee phobia. I mean, it's pretty much under control. I don't freak out, but bees are... I used to have a bee phobia, and they're not my, like, favorites even now. All right, so, you know, I kind of had to get over it because I used to paint houses and there's like hornets' nests all over the place and stuff. And it's sort of like, well, am I going to like refuse to paint this section, or am I just going to suck it up? And, you know, I sucked it up, but. All right, this one. So, I had this on. I think I was going to look up this more, but basically it's the Tao's hum thing. So there's like all these places now that have the Tao's hum. I've had this on before, but it just keeps growing and growing and growing. And so there's just like, let me see if I can find that map now. I think he had a map on where there was just like 25 places in the world that have hums. Here's all these hum places. Are reported in all these places now. It's not just Tao's. And have for decades or longer. So he's kind of going through, they were trying to figure it out. But it's definitely spreading. So, and then tinnitus is way up, and we're all just going to hear weird crap now, I guess. And they're all, maybe it's pipelines, maybe it's this weird sculpture, maybe it's this bridge. But you know what? We just didn't have, we had those, that bridge is old, pipelines are old, and yet we did not have all this. So something's up. I think it's just excuses. All right, this is an extra weird one. The Kentucky meat shower. Never forget, the Kentucky meat shower happened 148 years ago today. Never forget, I was not familiar with the Kentucky meat shower. An incident occurring for several minutes in 1876 where what appeared to be chunks of red meat fell from the sky in 100 by 50 area near Olympia Springs in Bath County, Kentucky. And the storyline is maybe a whole bunch of vultures got a whole bunch of meat in their stomach and then barfed it all up in the sky. And that's why it rained meat. Come on. I'm sorry, but just admit you don't know, because that is stupider sounding than just saying, I don't know. It was vultures barfing meat. I don't know why they just have to say they have, like, the logical explanation is often much more illogical than just admitting you don't know. It's like, do you really have to try to explain everything when you don't have a good explanation? I guess that's what humans have to do. More so than ever. More so than ever, that's what we do these days. I've just really noticed that in recent years. It's like people cobble together these theories on, like, literally duct tape and fantasy, and they swear they're right. Like, they cling to their narrative that I don't know anything. Oprah Winfrey is a space alien. They're positive. Can't argue with them. Like, okay, then they have some kind of, well, she acted weird here and she has a weird face or something, so she's a space alien. I'm like, that's not really very strong evidence. I can see you might theorize something like that, but why are you so sure? People clutch to their narratives like the demon child these days, no matter how flimsy they are. And I find it really strange. I just don't think that 15 years ago people were clung on to it so much. I mean, maybe is that part of what's making everything so crazy now? I'm the first to admit I've got a lot of weird narratives and beliefs, but at least I'm admitting that it's my opinion. Like, I don't have proof. I can't say 100%. I can't be absolutely sure I'm right. I'm not actually sure I'm right. I'm basically picking what I think works for me, number one, that it works, and it's more likely to be right, in my opinion. I totally understand if people think I'm wrong, though. I do. I still will argue with, my point, but I understand that it is an opinion. And it just seems like people don't anymore understand that they might be wrong or that they have an opinion. Then you get into it, like, well, maybe there is no right or wrong, maybe it only just is opinion. I have a short of a cicada killer wasp that was stuck between the glass of the wall when it would... Okay, wait, I'm not... My voice is almost back. Whoa, is it? I feel like it's getting better. I mean, like, it's easier to get it out. For a while, it's like, it'll really work. So it's definitely getting smoother. So, but it feels a little tight, but then my ear is so weird. I don't... Sister, I pray daily to be wrong. The things I see are not... So, there's definitely a lot of horrible... But then there's a lot of beautiful. And maybe it's just two sides of the same coin. Which one do you concentrate on, I mean, like, where do you put your attention on? I think where you put it is where you head more. So that's why I tried. I'm not saying that there isn't a bunch of bad stuff. But once I acknowledge, okay, it's there, I'm trying not to dwell on that. That is what I'm saying. Okay. There's this and there's this. Which one do you want? Which one are you going to work for? So, like, you're out in the ocean. You see the shore. Are you going to be, like, spending most of your time paddling towards shore? Are you going to spend most of your time looking for sharks? Which one is more effective? Because you can't do much about the sharks, but you can do a lot about the paddling. And I certainly understand that you get distracted. Oh, my God, where's the shark? Just start paddling, And that's kind of been my attitude. I think it works, and that's the one thing that I would say is I think it works. The more you paddle towards the good stuff, you're not going to get there in 5 seconds, but it does seem like the terrain gets a little better and a little better. At least the terrain near you. I'm not saying the terrain in the Ukraine is necessarily going to get better. It might not get better over there. But, you have control, I think, of your area. And it does have some spreading effect. So that's what we have to do, is what we can do in our area. By trying to think better of people. I mean, even if some other generation person is rude, try to think like, look, life is hard. People are trying. They're lost in their issues. Cut some slack. Cut yourself some slack. Realize you're not perfect. They're not perfect. Those kind of things. I do think it helps a lot because I've been one of the most judgy people in this planet. Okay, you should do this. I could have easily been a total Karen. And I've had times when I was a Karen. Not the Karen that really goes out and attacks people, but the silent, judgy kind of Karen, And it's a miserable existence. And the more you get away from it, the better it feels. Where you're just going, I don't have to compare myself to everybody. There's people who are going to do way better than me on some things and way worse than me on some things. And when I see somebody that's way better than me, that doesn't make me a bad person. And when I see somebody do worse than me, I try not to just go, yeah. It just is what it is. They're in the place they are. So like, if I get a little kitten and this little kitten that is like 5 weeks old hisses at me and I don't just go, well, that's a bad kitten. That kitten doesn't know anything. And so it's going to develop, hopefully, right? So I just try to take more attitude like that. I look out for myself, certainly. I'm not going to be a victim. I'm not going to excuse and say it's fine. But at the same time, people have gone through some shite, and we don't know their stories. So it's just easier to just deal with stuff than to try to be so judgy. Why does everyone think about the panic over the coming eclipse? I was not aware of any panic over the coming eclipse. We've got like about 5 eclipses a year these days, so I thought we were done with that. I don't think there's anything super exciting going to happen over the eclipse. Sometimes we get some shifty business during these things, but weird happenings, so many presidents resigning, disappearing, selling their stocks, houses. Where are all these people and their wealth going? I just think it's part of the movie. The movie is always trying to up itself over the past season episode. So it's always like a new thing is coming. It's the human roller coaster. And the pandemic, that was a huge roller coaster, right? Nothing, it didn't pan out like any of us thought. We didn't have like we didn't really have this mass death or anything that everybody was feared, but we didn't have the mass prison planet that other people feared. We didn't have any of that. So I just feel like that's how we live now, is that there always has to be fear porn all the time. And it just seems like it's something that humans really crave. We get really addicted to it. It's like going on a roller coaster, watching a horror movie. Any minute now we're going to collapse. But then we don't. We're going to have the Arctica's going to melt and all the water's going to flood 200 feet high. Oh, no, wait, it didn't. Oh, the ozone layer's going to open. Everybody's going to get cancer. Oh, no, it didn't. We're going to run out of oil, and then everybody's going to go to war, and there'll be global economic collapse. Oops, no, we did it. It's just like on and on and on. So, like, the latest ones are like, that stuff you're talking about, which is kind of like a little bit of a weak storyline compared to some of the ones we've had recently, but I'm just not worrying about it anymore. This stuff just it never happens the way you totally fear. It always is just like you're going to have some effects from it. There's going to be some ramifications, but it just never really is the giant disaster that everybody predicts. Isn't everyone high all the time? That's why people are so sure of things. The people I know doing it are not high. They're not people who take drugs. A few of them are, but generally not. So, and even people I've known for a long time that didn't used to be so sure of weird stuff or sure of weird stuff. So, yeah, but I mean, like, these are people who would tell me if they smoke weed. They're not. So, I don't know. And some of them have really wacky, weird storylines that are not negative. Like, everything's going to be great, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I try to argue with them less because I'm like, I kind of like their narrative better. But some of them are really out there with how it's going to happen, too. I mean, like, if I really describe it, it'll like be too obvious if that person hears. But they're just not the narratives you hear all the time. But they're pretty weird. So, and this guy swears it's this, then this guy swears it's this, and they're all over the place. Talking about Exorcist, my computer's working perfectly. That's funny because you know what? My computer went all crazy like a couple days ago and was doing that same thing I was doing like 6 months ago. And then I just kept rebooting it. And then today, knock on wood, it seems fine again. But that computer, it has like more lives than a cat. Then the whole passing through 7 towns with the Nevea. Something, I have no idea what that is. So one of the things I do tend to say is when my computer goes crazy, it tends to be shifty lands. So, you know, I'm in the middle of this weird brain set and I'm like, is this the flu? Is it shifty lands? I don't know. Okay, why did I have this on? Okay, so Cyclopia. I'm starting to find skulls with it. Adult skulls is what I found here, and that's why I put this on. First, you couldn't find any human skulls other than like a fetus that like failed before it was born. And then there was like a few where babies were born and they died in a week or something. But this is like an adult skull of a cyclopean human. As far as I can tell, it's legit. There's no argument. Yeah, see, this person looks like an adult skull. So I don't know. I mean, there's kind of reports showing up that that some do survive. It's a little vague right now, but I'm thinking we're getting there, basically. So that's why I put this on. Past efforts to find things did not yield an adult skull, that's for sure. So there's like reports now. Okay, I think this is the beginning. Yeah. See, I have all these still. Look, I only have 20 minutes. I haven't even caught up. See, which one was this one? Oh, yeah, this weird fish. There's so many of these now. So, like, I guess now fish just all ooze up to shore. And then you can just grab them. I'm like, good deal for the ancient civilizations. Like, wouldn't that be cool? Like, you don't even have to go out to the ocean because every now and then a whole boatload of fish just ooze up to shore. So the storyline now is like, maybe killer whales or something were fishing and scared all the fish forward. So, like, they just all jumped onto the shore because they're that stupid. I don't know. So, yeah, bajillions of fish just show up. You're seeing more and more videos like this. So, I mean, can you imagine if you were a village and then this just happened? It would be like truly blessings from the gods. You just get a big bucket and walk over there and start scooping in the fish. All the fish you could possibly eat. You could catch enough for a month. You just start cooking and drying them. You know, if all the village came out here, you could have at least a month's worth of fish or more all in once. If you stretch it out with rice, it could be months and months. I mean, if they had nets, they could come out here, throw a net in here, and get like a bajillion fish. So this didn't used to be a thing for me. So first it was the grunion, but they were like this big, you know? And that was the first thing that showed for me. And now there's like these huge ones. You know, last week we had, I think it was Shari, you found those armored catfish. They just cruise across the deserts. Crazy town. They just jump into your nets for you. I think Mandela effects are micro raptures, just not one big one. Yeah, I don't know. It does seem like everything is kind of sneaks along at a rate that is a little more tolerable, so people's brains don't just completely explode. But it also feels like we have to energetically move along. That is my feeling. Like maybe we just can't do it all at once because we just are not capable of that rapid a shift. Squirrels climb up my leg now when I hand out almonds. Yeah. So I don't know if I'll get to it today, but there was definitely a bunch of videos in that milieu of excessively friendly animals. It's definitely a thing. I don't see how rapture has anything to do with this personally. You know, I mean, there's a Bible story, and what is it described? Does it describe this? I don't know. I do think there's some interesting stuff in the Bible that kind of mirrors what's happening now. I mean, does that mean the Bible's right on everything? Or does it just mean it mirrors? Because the Bible's changing too. We see so many Mandelas, so. Oh, there's a death comet with the eclipse? No, I have not heard of the death comet with the eclipse. We've had so many of these, though, because they're like, oh, next week the stars are going to be like this, and then it really is the parable of something in the Bible, and then that means blah, blah, and then it doesn't happen. At least not the way they said it. The comet is coming. This is, oh, and that was, wait, that's a video, I think. Death by... All right, we need the 2024 death comet. Apparently there's been a lot of these death comets. All right, the devil comet. The devil comet is what we're looking for. It's not often a bright comet is near the sun. Huh. I have not heard of this thing. After all, but as the sun is blotted out, darkness will fall, rendering more than just the solar corona visible in the sky. Stars and planets will appear, lighting up amid the false twilight. You might be able to catch a comet hovering in the sky near the eclipsed sun. The discovery of Comet Pons Brooks. Blah, blah, blah. How to see Comet Pons Brooks. 6 planets will be in the sky in totality. Venus will be the brightest. Jupiter will serve as a convenient guidepost to find planet to Comet Pons Brook. Okay, so Comet Pons Brook is what we're looking at here. Comet Pons Brook Devil. The Devil Comet is heading our way, and that's still okay. The short period comet orbits the sun once every 71 years, similar to the famous Halley's Comet. I think it used to be Halley's Comet. It's not a newcomer. Yeah, I've never heard of it. That was a big, hairy deal when Halley's Comet came, but Devil Comet is no danger. So, Devil's Comet, yeah. There's so many comets now. It's like eclipses, comets. I don't know, like we're going to have like 5 per day at the rate we're going in. I absolutely believe the clips could kick off the tribulation. So that's a Bible thing. So the thing for me is like, around 2016 when I learned of the Mandela, everybody on Redcon, like the Bible people, were all saying, oh, this is the beginning of the tribulation now. And I'm like, okay, 7 years will be done, right? So now I'm like, no, now it's kicking. Wait, come on. We started 7 years ago, right? So I kind of like can't really just, I'm like, whatever, because we're supposed to be done. CERN is an Indian statue. CERN is an Indian statue. All right. Statue. Okay, there's that statue at CERN. Are we talking about that? Why is there a statue of Shiva the Destroyer at CERN? I mean, that's been there a long time, right? Last I checked, there was a lot of shifties in this thing. I haven't seen any in a while, but this thing was Shifty McShifties for a while. Like, I'd look and there'd be a different thing every month or two. It's kind of like stabilized after a while, but every now and then I see like some little bitty thing. I haven't really covered it because it's just like real tiny stuff now. Every time they say this is the last days, it never ends. Yeah, I mean, I just feel like it just keeps shifting. So my point now is like, you know what? I don't think we can really say that stuff ends. Like, it's a path. And try to make the most of what you got in front of you, like, of all people, it's very easy for me to, and I think this is just this human way of doing things, is that we're always looking at what we want fixed, so everything can be great and we'll be complaining that my toenail hurts, oh, my hair's out of space, this hair looks ugly today, like your whole body looks great. It reminds me of this, I think I've told this story before, but there was this, when I was in high school, I went camping once, and it was just a couple families, and there was only 2 young people there, me and this other girl from some other area of the state, and she was like one of those really pretty girls that just was beautiful, and she was popular, and we didn't have much in common, but we were the only ones there, so we just kind of got along. But her whole weekend was ruined because she had a pimple. Like, she's like the most beautiful person in the world, and there's no dudes our age or anything. So it's just all family members and old parents and stuff. So who cares if you have a pimple, because nobody's going to see, right? But she just spent her whole weekend thinking about that pimple. And it really struck me because we were in the most beautiful place, and we had wonderful food, and then there was water skiing and a beautiful lake, and it was a beautiful vacation, and we didn't have to work. And we all had it was a good life, but she just obsessed about that pimple like the whole weekend. And I just kind of realized it's like, no matter how good you got it, she had a great family with money and a great life, but no matter how good you got it, you could always find something to fix on that sucks, and that you can kind of just, you got to pick, you got to pick what you concentrate on. We get in such a habit of not seeing the stuff around, and then even fighting, against seeing the stuff around that we have that's good. Social, you know what? She was a social butterfly. She was like cheerleader with 10 bajillion friends, and, I mean, like, it just struck me. You got to realize that was Gen X, so there wasn't social media then, so there wasn't a lot of people that had social anxiety or disorder back then like there is now. And, she was a smart girl and stuff, too. I mean, she wasn't an idiot. But I guess I had thought, I was just kind of middling in school. as far as popularity and stuff, I had friends, but I wasn't like, I didn't really want to do what was necessary to do that. You have to kind of fit in and stuff. I was kind of jealous on the one hand, but I was not willing to do what was necessary. So, and I knew that. I'm like, I'm not doing that. So, but I kind of just thought, you know, I had this in my imagination that they must enjoy their life because they have all these things that we are told is what you want, right? You know, she's got a nice family, fairly wealthy, she's good looking, popular, and all those things. And yet she managed to be miserable. And I felt like it took a lot of effort. But I look at myself and I'm going, you know, in a lot of ways I do a similar thing because although I may not be quite as perfect as her, I still have a lot of really good things. And yet I just ignore them every day. And I also spent a lot of time like, what if, like everything's fine right now, but what if? It's like, most of that stuff's not going to happen, but I spent all day going, what if? So, Tennessee passed a law against chemtrails. Well, that should be interesting. Get out the popcorn. It's one thing to change your attitude or philosophy, but if you have a genetic or physical malformation, yeah. So, you know, that was my attitude for a long time. Like, you know, I seem to have some kind of weird fatigue problem. It's probably genetic, blah, blah. But then I'm like, okay, well, what if I don't look at it that way? What if I don't say it's genetic, permanent, and I'm stuck with it forever and it can never be fixed? What if I say, maybe I can fix it. Maybe I can get better. Maybe it can be solved, blah, blah, blah. And you know what? When you do that, then when you really do that and you really put your attention in that direction, you'll be surprised at what comes up, I think. It becomes like this weird spiral where you just concentrate on your problems and you concentrate on your problems and then you have we look at it. Antarctica, like a whole continent disappeared. The moon changes orbit. South America went east. So whatever genetic problem you have, it can go away. It can. It'd be easier than Antarctica disappearing. I mean, there is nothing that can't be changed. So that's like, I'm not going to go with, okay, I have a genetic problem. Tomorrow you can find out there's a cure for it, or you can find out you just needed a vitamin, or whatever. There's like 100 million ways that could go away. So I don't want to say I'm like blaming people for things. I'm not, but I'm just saying this is a journey. What direction do you want to paddle in? I do my best to find solutions, but I leave everything in sources. Yeah. So what I find for me is just that spending a lot of time thinking about how I'm thinking, you know, just noticing my assumptions and things. Because if I assume a lot of negative stuff, I think that it just perpetuates those things. Now they say the human heart produces a magnetic field. See, you know, like somebody I know, it used to be if you had an enlarged heart, you were going to die soon. And somebody I know was diagnosed with an enlarged heart many years ago. And they're like, you know, you're probably not going to make it that much longer because your heart's in terrible condition. And now, you know, there was no cure. And now she doesn't have an enlarged heart. Like she never had, you know, like the doctor remembers saying she had it, but then you look at it, it's not there. So boom, it's just gone. It's gone. So anything, even genetic stuff, it can go. I think you have to change the energy in you that was behind it. If you change that, then it goes. It sounds crazy, but I'm seeing it happen. I'm literally seeing people, you know, got somebody I know was diagnosed with cancer. They saw it on the x-ray. Okay? There was a lump there. It's cancer. A month later, they wanted to do more imaging. They couldn't find it. Went back to look at the old one. It wasn't on there anymore. Like the doctor even like had a circle there. Like there it is. It's not there. It's gone. So there is nothing that is that stable. There is nothing you're actually stuck with. I think the trick is to change the energy in you. All those things are impossible technically, but I see it more every day. Every day. I can feel if something is going to turn out good or not. No idea how, but I can feel it. Yeah, I do know what you mean. Like sometimes I'm just like, this is a good idea. But another thing to play with, which is interesting, especially if it's kind of a little bit on the middle ground, play with the concept, like the feeling that it is going to turn out good. Like say you have a feeling it's not going to turn out good. What if you work on changing your feeling to that it is going to turn out good? And then see what happens, because it's kind of fun. And if you're wrong, fine. It's no big deal, right? I'm not saying bet $1 bajillion on it. Just play with it. Nobody has ever explained to me what a high vibration is or how you get it. Is it just a positive attitude? Well, it's such a simple question, but yet it's deep. And I think the reason it's deep is because humans tend to be not aware of most of our thinking and feeling. And so when they say like mindfulness, I think that's what they really mean is when you really pay attention to all your thoughts, you'll kind of be surprised. I think that's kind of the point of meditation, is you sit there and look at your thoughts. Like all the plather that goes through, a lot of it's just crazy, silly stuff, useless stuff, negative stuff, like that. So like you can't just go, I'm going to be positive and then boom. I mean, if it was that easy, everybody would do it. But I personally think that a lot of it is just taking out the negative thought processes that are in the way. And then I think if you do that, then you will be positive. Now, it's also, I think, good to try to weigh, gratitude and all that stuff as much as you can. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it is just being positive, but then just being positive can be a heck of a challenge, because you can do it for 2 minutes, right? Or you can do it when you're in a good mood already. But what when you're in a bad mood, you're really crappy mood? Now can you do it? You can, but it's just a lot more challenge, and you have to I find for myself that I just have to claw for it sometimes. And sometimes I'm here and I only make it to here. But the more I do it, I get better at it. And then the deeper depths of depression are less, over time. And it goes up and down and up. But, there's a slow, gradual improvement. And I say it again. It's like I just pick the shoreline you want to go for and try to keep paddling that way. And it may not always look like you're making progress, but you will be. But also, I think a lot of it is just getting out of your own way. A lot of it is just noticing how you're in your own way. It's like onion layers. You're like, I realize I'm getting in my own way here. I get that straightened out. Oh, I'm getting in my own way here. And it gets a little more subtle as you go down sometimes too. Like one of the things I've been working on lately, it looks like I gotta go soon, is this, that I tend to be like, I'm a fighter, I'm gonna fight. And I think that kind of goes into reality that makes things harder, because fighting is hard. It's work, right? So lately I'm like, I'm going to say reality is easy. I can do it. It's easy. Like, when you're just in the Zen mood and everything just goes and it's easy and you don't have to fight, it just works out. I'm working on that more. I'm going to have like easy. Let's go for easy. Now, I'm not saying every last thing will be easy, but easy, or more of that easy attitude. Just the Zen, chill, a little bit more trust, a little bit less force. Like when you swim, you swim really, really, really hard. You just kind of exert a lot of energy. But there's a certain swim where you relax and you're putting some effort, but you're not like killing yourself. And that's the most efficient way to swim. So that's what I'm working on lately. And with that, it has been an amazing 2 hours already, believe it or not. So I think it's time for me to go. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Very much appreciate it. You know the drill. Think good thoughts, everybody. This is Eva, signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.